What did all of these people have in common? They surrendered to oppression.
Why Don't People Fight Back Against Oppression? By Sarah Taylor, Hayden Beames, and Vivian Dang.
What is oppression? Oppression is prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. It comes from the Latin root opprimere, meaning press down.
There are three types of unconscious oppression: individual, institutional, and cultural. Examples of these include laughing at a racist joke, destroying inadequate housing of other cultures, and how the English language associates white with pure and black with evil.
Surrendering means to cease resistance to an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. There are three ways to surrender: fleeing, self-destruction, and acquiescence.
To flee is to run away from a place or situation of danger. Many people fled their countries to escape from communism, which advocates class inequality and leads to a society where everyone works and is paid according to their capabilities and needs. The Vietnam War, Part 1. Vietnam had been a French colony since the 1880s. The Vietnamese fought for independence and won in 1954. The country was split into Communist North Vietnam and non-Communist South Vietnam. Part 2. In the early 1960s, the Viet Cong tried to overthrow the government by fighting in small groups that hid in the jungle and controlling most of South Vietnam. In 1965, the U.S. sent troops to Vietnam, and in 1973, both Vietnams and the United States agreed to cease fire. In 1975, the North Vietnamese won the war. The communists would steal money from the high and middle class to make everyone equal. They did this so everyone would be equally poor, dumb, and powerless, and no one would be able to uprise against them. If you did not believe the same way, you would be silently taken away and executed. As you can see, oppression from the Vietnam War caused many families to flee instead of stay and fight against a communist regime. Vivian's grandma expressed her main reason for fleeing as fear for what was next to come.
Má giải thích sự kinh nghiệm của má về chiến tranh Việt Nam. Trong cuộc chiến tranh này có sự ảnh hưởng nào lớn lao đến má không?
Có. Lúc mà chiến tranh thì cực quá, coi như là tất cả phải đi tị nạn, phải đi tìm đường đi tự do. Ok.
Vì lý do gì mà má rời Việt Nam?
Thì lý do là mình không có chịu nổi, khổ cực lắm, không có đồ ăn cho mình ăn.
Sự ra đi này có ảnh hưởng cho má và gia đình, và có bỏ lại thứ gì khi ra đi không?
Có, mình cũng phải bỏ nhà cửa mình đi.
Tại sao má không có sự chống lại chính quyền cộng sản?
Làm cho mình đủ sức mà chống.
Khi bỏ nước ra đi, má có cảm xúc gì?
Thì mình cũng đâu có buồn vậy.
Chính quyền cộng sản làm gì mà má muốn ra đi?
Thì quá cực, quá coi như mình không có được tự do.
When the communists were trying to create equality, they would take money from the high and middle class. The communists did this so everyone would be equally poor, dumb, and powerless, so that they could not uprise against them. Members of the high and middle classes were sent to re-education camps to conform them to communist beliefs. Acquiesce is to accept something reluctantly but without protest. Segregation is the action or state of setting someone apart from other people. Acquiesce, segregation. The racial segregation in America lasted from 1896 to 1964. Segregation became legal in 1896 when the Supreme Court approved the separation of black and white races. The ending of segregation started in 1954 when the court case of Brown v. Board of Education outlawed the segregation of black and white people in public education facilities at the state level. All state and local laws making segregation legal were abolished in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Life under segregation. Although the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were passed to end slavery, provide citizenship, and guarantee the right to vote, respectively, black people were not treated equally. They were regarded as second-class citizens and were separated from white people by law and by private action. The separate but equal doctrine was not equal because black people did not have the same opportunities and were not treated the same way as white people, but instead treated as second-class citizens. Many black people did not stand up to these harsh segregation laws because they feared that if they did, they would be arrested and sent to prison, or punished in other ways.
Hey nerd, where'd you get that scarf? The trash? Hey loser, behind the camera because you're too ugly to be in front of it. Hey loser, what's on your mind?
Nothing.
Bullying is the use of force, threat, intimidation, or to aggressively dominate others. The behavior is often repeated and is habitual. Bullying can usually be found in 4 different types of abuse: emotional, verbal, physical, and cyber. 2.7 million kids are victims of bullying every year. Suicide rates among 10 to 14-year-olds have grown up more than 50% over the last 3 decades. 1 in 10 students will drop out of school because of bullying. Approximately 160,000 teens skip school every day because of bullying. Bullying damages self-esteem, which may damage one's ability to speak up against the bully. Bullying is only intervened 15% of the time because most of the time peers are afraid that they too may become victims of bullying for speaking up.
To conclude, people don't fight back against oppression because they feel that they are powerless against a stronger and more intimidating force. They fear what would happen to themselves and their families if they did fight back.